Hello, so it's good to have you here again. If you're watching my channel for the very first time, my name is Winnie Andoho, and my YouTube channel is more about finding meaning in life because I've noticed so many people are sad, so many people are not truly living, people are just struggling to survive, people are just existing, they're not really making the most out of life, and it's something I've observed in our society, and I see that it makes a lot of people very bitter. People cannot give what they don't have. Most people are not at peace, and I like to think that ignorance could be part of it because if you don't know the solution to your problems, of course you're going to suffer. People say you can't have it all, but I think I can. Even if I can't have it all at once, but I know I'm going to keep working step by step every day to make my life beautiful. It's not going to be perfect, but at least it's going to be beautiful and it's going to give me inner peace. It was just last year I quit my job, and before I quit my job, I was feeling really, really bitter. I was feeling really sad. I really hated the routine of waking up every morning and going to a job that like killed me from the inside. Your boss comes in and then she's insulting everybody and belittling everybody. It kind of like rubs off on you. I'm not where exactly I want to be in my life, but I'm happy that I took a leap of faith. And when I chose to resign from my job, it did not come with so much support. Like it didn't come with, oh, I'm so happy for you that you're taking this leap. It was more of, are you sure this is right? Things are so difficult in Nigeria right now. You cannot leave this job, this, that. I wanted to learn a digital skill, so I just needed some time off. I needed some comfort to myself. My parents were running this business of like foods, dried fish, dried rabbits, spices like ginger, garlic. I spoke about it in my previous channel, like healthy foods. So I also felt that it would have really, really been better if I came to join my parents and then we tried to build this brand rather than suffering or sweating out for somebody who doesn't even appreciate you. So I mentioned that to my dad, and he said, wow, he'll really be glad to have me home so we can work together. I mentioned that to my mom. She said, yeah, whatever is best for me, she's happy with it. Whatever I feel is cool, she's happy with it. So quitting my job was really important to me because it was stealing part of my life. Like I felt I was not a human being anymore. The well-being was just not there. Like it just wasn't there. And of course, the money wasn't really so reasonable. So probably maybe if I was collecting some good millions, maybe it would have made some sense. But when it comes to even health, of course, my health was deteriorating and all of that. I was eating junk stuff because you don't have time to cook. By the time you've closed for work, it's already at night, so you have to eat at night, and it wasn't really cool. So when I wanted to quit, I just didn't say I would just quit and go back home. What the price I had to pay was to task myself to learn a digital skill. I had to task myself to learn something that doesn't require me waking up every morning and doing like the routine of I wake up every morning, get to work. Of course, where I was working, the good thing was that yeah, they provided accommodation, but I knew too well that even if I leave that place, go to somewhere else to get a job, it's still going to be the same circle. I just knew I had to do something for myself, and I felt that I could do this too. I just wasn't a computer person. I didn't even know how to operate a computer until I started working. So let's say I learned on the job. So I had to task myself to learn something around content writing because that was something that I felt, yeah, I love expressing myself. So especially in writing, let's say I'm more expressive when it comes to writing compared to like talking. Let's say I'm more eloquent when I write compared to when I speak. But I guess that's a skill I'm going to learn, and this is the avenue for me to learn. YouTube, of course. There are times when I would have been enjoying myself during breaks and all of that, but I spent most of this break time religiously learning, and it paid off. It paid off because we had our when I came back home, we had our business go to places where I felt it wouldn't really go. But of course, that's the power of the internet. It takes you where you felt you'd never go. It exposes you to the world. So of course that was it. And somebody was asking where I met my partner. Yeah, I met my partner on LinkedIn. So before I actually quit my job, I had to learn how to work on my attitude also. As a matter of fact, because I hated my job, I was constantly complaining all the time. Complaining, and most of the time, when you keep complaining, it makes you blind towards all the things that you should feel grateful for. So if there was one major thing that I learned which changed my life was gratitude. And ask myself that what do you see that you could be grateful for? So it was more like where I was working, in as much as I was complaining every day, my colleagues were complaining every day. I had to ask myself that, yeah, it feels like it's a terrible place to work, but what do you feel grateful for? And I had to look around and I felt that, man, I felt grateful that there's a computer in front of my desk and electricity 24 hours. So, of course, that should be something to feel grateful for, because once you start feeling grateful, it makes you, let's say, it opens your eyes to opportunities which probably you wouldn't have seen when you were deeply complaining and all of that. So when I noticed that, yeah, I should feel blessed, I should feel grateful for electricity and the desktop to myself, this should help me to learn. And of course, that was one of the things that pushed me, or will I say motivated or inspired, any of them. But it was one of those things that gave me that drive to say, okay, this is what I have at the moment. So it's more like, even in your own life, I understand how Mondays are for so many people. So many people are always very bitter on Mondays, because I know too well that people hate their jobs. Not so many people hate, sorry, not so many people love their jobs. And on Mondays, it's really like quite depressing and all of that. Like for myself, if you check me out on Mondays back in the day, I was always looking like pale, because it hurt me a lot to go to work. And I don't know why it's always attached to Mondays. Yeah, probably because the weekend is when you get to rest for a little bit of a time. But for myself, for most weekends I even worked, so not like it made any difference. So sometimes you're working 2 weekends and then the weekday comes and then you just continue. So of course, like I mentioned, I had to learn that attitude of gratitude, which helped a lot. So it's something that, if you're trying to find some meaning in life, if you're trying to make your like the most out of your life, you should try to learn gratitude. It's very important, very, very important. Also realize that there's always a price to pay for whatever it is you want. So you spend most of your life at your job. So imagine if you're spending most of the life doing something that drains life out of you, like it just makes no sense at all. So it's something you should always have at the back of your mind, that if your life feels that way, you should always realize that there's a price to pay. Find that price you have to pay and pay. It's not going to be beautiful, but it's going to be worth the effort when you're done. I'm not exactly where I want to be in my life right now, but I'm grateful for where I am right now. Very, very grateful. I know that after I left my job, I had to start eating healthy. So of course I lost weight. I lost about 12 kg, 13 kg, because I had a lot of time to myself. I could wake up and decide to spend the first 3 hours of the morning running, jogging, going for adventures, hiking and stuff like that. Then of course it came with eating healthy, of course, because I have a lot of time to myself, that I can fix a proper meal to eat, a healthy meal to eat. So life is really beautiful and it's yours, like it's your birthright. You can make the most out of life. You don't have to look at people who are just struggling to survive. You can choose. It's just a decision you need to make. You need to decide for yourself that, am I going to make the most of my life, or I'm just going to watch it waste around? Am I going to learn how to live? Because most people feel they know how to live, or they don't know how to live. So that's that. See you in my next video. In my next video, of course, it's still going to be about well-being, making the most out of life, which is basically what the whole channel is all about. So you should recommend this to your friend, recommend my channel to your friend, like, subscribe, so you can always, the essence of subscribing is not to drain money out of your account, it's just to notify you that Winifred has dropped another video, so go check it out. So that's just that. And then of course it encourages me also to keep putting out content out there. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for your time, and see you in my next video. Bye.